My name's AnnMarie Preik, and I am your host for today's Second Act Living podcast. This is a place for people in the second act of their life can come together to talk, laugh, pray about everything that this stage of life has to throw at you. So please help me welcome today's guest, Eileen Sloan. Eileen is a life coach for women seeking peace, simplicity, and clarity as they navigate life's transitions. Drawing on her background in education and ministry, she helps women identify what matters most, align their lives with their values, and step confidently into their God-given calling. Married for 35 years, a mother of 2, and a grandmother of 5, Eileen is especially passionate about intentional grandparenting. She believes grandparents have a powerful opportunity to nurture faith, invest time wisely, and build meaningful relationships, whether nearby or across the miles, creating a legacy that lasts for generations. Eileen lives in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains in Evergreen, Colorado. So jealous. Where she enjoys hiking, road biking, and playing pickleball. If the question, what's next, brings anxiety rather than excitement, or if you're navigating seasons such as parenting, grandparenting, or empty nesting, Eileen offers coaching for every stage of life. Connect with her at EileenSloanCoaching.com or EileenSloan1 at Outlook.com to gain clarity, rediscover purpose, and take meaningful steps toward a life of peace and lasting impact. So Eileen, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is exciting.
It is exciting. So I was thinking back, we've known each other for going on a couple years, and we actually started our coaching journey together. We were in Essentials together. We were in coaching skills development together. So, and this is fun. We've done hours of bar coaching together. So it's been a joy getting to know you. And I'm really excited for this topic.
Yeah, thank you. And I remember when we were in class, it was one of the first classes and you started talking and, because we're all in the little squares, on the Zoom. And I remember thinking, I want to be friends with her. and then we got to be in groups and then the barter coaching together. You just made the journey so much brighter, lighter, and you added a lot of element of fun to it too.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so kind. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. I have gleaned so much wisdom and calmness from you. My goal is to have that sweet, calm presence that you always bring. That's something I'm working on.
Well, thank you.
Not necessarily natural for me. So anyway, but before we jump into the episode of what we're talking about, we always start with rapid fire questions. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So when going on a date with your hubby, do you choose romantic candlelit dinner or Netflix and pizza?
Netflix and pizza.
Yeah. Do you have a show that you guys are watching right now?
For years we watched Frasier.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good one.
Frasier. Yeah. Okay. That's fun. When going on a trip, do you pack your whole closet or travel light?
Travel light.
Yeah. I'm working on that. Where are you finding joy in midlife?
People.
Oh, just in general, just being with people.
Being rooted in God and being with people.
Yeah,
I'm about connections.
Yeah. What has been your favorite vacation?
It's probably going to be the one that I'm doing in February next month with my daughter, son-in-law. My husband will be there and my grandkids, 2 out of the 5. So
where are you guys?
Going to be my favorite one.
Aw, fun. Can you share where you're going?
Yeah, we're going on a cruise, on a Royal Caribbean cruise. And it's just going to be so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun. What is your bucket list vacation?
Italy with my husband. I've been to Italy with my girlfriends, and everywhere I went and everything we did, from sitting at the farm, the farm to table restaurants outside with the great food, the wine. I kept thinking my husband would love this. My husband would love this. So we're celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary this year. So we are going to get one on the books to go to
Oh,
Italy together.
wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. 35 years. That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I can attest, Italy is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. We've
What
been
part
there
did you go
twice.
to?
So the first time was just Tuscany. So we were in Lucca, Pisa, Florence, uh, uh, right on the Mediterranean. I can't remember the town, and then in the mountains. I feel like there's another place. Anyway, amazing.
Mhm.
And then the second time, most of those places plus Naples, Rome, um, and then we went to Cagliari in Sardinia. But
Wow.
it's this beautiful. We went on a cruise. We did like a Mediterranean cruise, so we just went
Okay,
right down
okay.
the coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as beautiful as you think it's going to be. The food is as good as you. I mean, like you said, you've been there before, right? Like so, yeah. And that's funny that you said that. So my husband and I have always said, like when we go places without each other, the first thing usually that pops into our head is, oh, this would be really fun to do with like her or right? Yeah, yeah.
You two are an includer.
Um, so, what is one new skill or hobby you've always wanted to learn?
Oh, skiing.
Oh,
I
fun. Do
I
you
s
ski?
well, not well, but, I can share more about it a little bit later, but I haven't skied in years, and when you move to Colorado, you should know how to ski, and I didn't. And so I put it down, I tried it, I put it down for 8 years, and I just picked it up again last Saturday.
Oh, wow. That's what
Yeah.
it's about. Doing new things in midlife. I love that.
Yeah.
What is one new way you stay connected with your kids and grandkids?
Oh my goodness, it's just spending time with them,
Yeah.
FaceTiming, calling, having them over, slumber parties, meals around the table, and just staying connected. I like to reach out to people and plan events
Mhm.
and yeah.
Yeah, actually, what you just is what sparked this whole episode because we talked about
That's
we talked about that.
mhm.
Um, what is your go-to stress reliever?
Massages.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's what's up. Okay, so I don't know if this applies to you or not. So if it doesn't, you don't have to answer. What's worse, hot flashes or forgetting why you walked into a room?
Oh, forgetting why I walked into a room. When I
Yeah.
go full speed, I'm on a mission, and then I get in there, I'm like, "Why am I here?"
Why am I here? I don't know how many times I say that during the day because then I have to go back where I came from and then
Yeah.
it'll spark. But yeah. Um, and the last one. What is one piece of advice you would give your 20 something self?
Relax.
Mm, just in general or like specific?
Just relax a little bit more physically, relax in worry, relax in stress, relax in, yeah, just relax so I could enjoy moments even more.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about your 20s and 30s that, depending on your personality type, it's just like, I got to do everything and I got to do it perfectly. Right. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
mhm. um, so in our pre interview,
Mhm.
I had such an amazing time just sitting with you and seeing your face and hearing your stories and hearing your heart behind grandparenting in midlife. Um,
Yeah.
it was something that I haven't talked about on the show, but it was just so beautiful to see that side of it. And you hear about like grandparenting is the best and blah blah blah, but there is something very special and intentional about you how you
Mhm.
approach grandparenting. It's incredibly intentional and specific. So yeah, so I'm excited to kind of talk about this, what it looks like. So in becoming a grandmother,
Mhm.
what surprised you most about becoming a grandma?
Well, the timing, we had 5 grandkids born within 40 months, 3.5 years. So they just
Wow.
started coming. Yeah. And I would say another thing is the moment that our oldest one was born, just holding her and realizing she's starting a new generation. And she's
Mm,
a part of my husband, she's a part of me, she's a part of our daughter, and this is a new human being. And then the second one came, and the excitement that we had with the first one, we had with the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. And just to see that the family's growing. Uh,
mm,
Yeah, and it just also it gained new perspective, you know. We're the parents, and then
yeah,
all of a sudden our babies are the parents, and we get to play a new role in these littles' lives.
yeah. Had you given any real thought before your grandkids came on how you wanted to be as a grandmother?
I love that question, Anne Marie, because it was really my husband and myself. My husband said, Am I, he asked me, Am I going to become second fiddle when these grandkids come?
Oh, okay.
What's going to happen to our relationship,
Mhm.
because of the excitement that wrapped. So we had many conversations. We talked about it. We planned what it looked like, that we would be grandparenting together and I wouldn't be taken off being the grandma and, he's kind of left behind. So that to me was a powerful conversation. How we're going to show up as grandparents together and how we're going to show up to our daughters and son-in-laws to
Yeah,
support them. And
yeah.
there were conversations and even some kind of role playing, when the kids call and they say, "Hey, can you come over?" I need to say, "Let me check with your dad and I'll get back to you." Instead of that excitement of, "Yes, I'm going to come over." So it was really, how are we going to work together in this new role so that together we show up as the parents and grandparents.
That is a critical conversation that I think
Yeah.
people probably just don't think to have, right? Um, and then you're in it and you're like, "Oh, how do we handle these conversations?" And I feel like so how you handled it was very proactive, right?
Yes.
Let's think about this. Where I think a lot of people handle it in a very reactive way, like, "Ooh, okay, well, I don't know how," like that kind of thing, or it can cause disagreements or fights or whatever. Yeah, no, and it's a good reflection back of like, you're married first, you are a
Mhm.
husband and wife first, and then you become parents, right?
Yeah.
So it's honoring that first and foremost relationship first, and then you
Mhm.
become parents, and how that reflects back and become grandparenting. No, you're your husband and wife first, and then you're a parent, and then you're a grandparent, right? So that's beautiful. That honors the correct order of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're a team, so why not grandparent together as a team?
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it wasn't really work on his part, it was mostly work on my part because
Really?
I was excited and I
Yeah,
did have more availability, and I did, and so it really, reeled me back to remember that, like you said, God comes first, my husband comes second. We're a
yeah,
team. So,
yeah. Hmm. That's beautiful.
mhm,
Um, what emotions or reflections came up for you when first becoming a grandparent?
joy,
Mm,
gratitude, um, just I was so elated. It was kind of an out of body experience, really, when you're holding this baby and you're just like, she's ours. You know what I
mm,
mean? And she's ours. Like I said earlier, she's the next generation. And then you
mhm.
look at them and, when we're parents, we're busy. We're at the hospital having the baby thinking, what am I gonna do when I get home? We have that stress, like, are they really going to let me out of this hospital with this
Right.
to care for it? And, as a grandparent, you don't have that. First, your children are gonna do just fine as parents.
Sure.
It's just a deeper, sitting there thinking, "What is she gonna like to do? Who is she
Mm,
gonna become? What is her life going to be all about?" And then our grandson came, and the same thing, it's that layer of stress and worry that you don't have,
yeah.
and you can think deeper, you can dream more in those first moments.
Yeah, it's taking the fear of, am I going to do this right, to wonder, right?
Mhm.
It's a wonder and an awe that you can focus on. That, I mean, as parents, you have that too, but it's also the responsibility of the raising, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you don't have that as a grandparent. You can focus on the joy and the love and the wonder and the awe and the, I wonder who they're going to become.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun. Um, hmm. How do you think your identity or like, how do you think it's shifted or like expanded?
Yeah, I love that question. I feel like my identity stayed the same, it just expanded. It
Yeah.
just I got to use the basics even more. As I just said earlier, God comes first in our lives,
Mhm.
and then my husband, and then our children, then our grandchildren, and it goes out from there. And my identity is rooted in the Lord, for sure.
Mm,
And so I loved the word expanded because I get to share that with my grandchildren. I get
mm,
to share, you know, just how to have an identity in the Lord and what
mm,
that means and who is He. And, my husband and we do it together. We make sure that there's certain things that we do that just kind of expands to our children, our
yeah.
grandchildren. And so I love that question because it didn't change who I was having grandchildren. It just enriched who I was.
Enriched. That's a beautiful word. Yeah. Yeah. And I often wonder, like, was there ever times where you looked at your grandkids and thought, I didn't know I could love this much? Like, did it ever surprise you? Like, sometimes I wonder, like, Lord willing, we become grandparents. I do wonder that sometimes. Like, wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
I could just sit and watch them sleep when they were babies
Uh-huh.
and just
Yeah.
watch them sleep and pray over them and just everything they did was perfect. Everything they
It-
do is perfect.
That's funny.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's funny. Hmm.
Yeah.
How do you balance your own midlife season with grandparenting? Like, what does that look like? If balance, and sometimes I feel like balance is like, is that even a word that can be attained? Like, what does that even mean or look like? But, um, especially since you've started a whole new career path midlife, right?
Mm.
How do you balance those two things?
Yes. Actually going into the life coaching was a part of knowing that the grandchildren were in our lives and more were to come. And
Hmm.
so my background is education. I taught elementary school forever. And for 9 years, when I was raising my own kids, I ran a licensed home daycare out of my house.
Oh,
And
wow.
so then I was able to be a chaplain for the marketplace. And so I kind of took all of those careers and said, what can I do with it now? And it was really life coaching that
Hmm.
came to mind because I like to work with women and mentor women. And the more I was learning about the life coaching, it just seemed to be designed around this new family that we have, that
Hmm.
I could have the flexibility to do it over Zoom.
Yeah.
And I could, you know, um, pick the days that I want to work. And really, it was so flexible and it worked with, every career that I had before that, it seemed to all really come together. And so I get to do my favorite things and still have time and availability and mostly margin for the
Mm,
family. I don't want to
smart.
miss a beat. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you establish healthy margins in that?
hmm I have a schedule and there's downtime in my schedule.
Yeah.
So planning margin is important.
Hmm.
Because if it doesn't get planned, it may be overlooked. Just one little example that was brought to my mind through a coaching session is I used to. I'm not the same age as I used to be, and I don't have the energy that I used to have. And I used to, um, we would plan a dinner party at our home. And on the same day as our dinner party, I would go 30 minutes down the hill to Costco, do the shopping, bring the groceries in, put the groceries away, cook the dinner, clean the dinner. By the time the guests would come, I was exhausted.
Oh.
And so through a coaching session, I worked through maybe a Costco run is the day before, and maybe
Mm,
I break it up. And that really taught me, you know, realistic boundaries, realistic, what can I really put out at this, age? And the the whole idea was to be able to spend time and break bread with people. And
mm,
when I'm so exhausted, I can't do that. So I protect myself to be able to be so relaxed and prepared that I can show up ready.
yeah. No, that's great. And that's I feel like that's been a theme in a lot of conversations I've had with women in midlife of I think sometimes there's a little bit of a grieving process of maybe what they used to love to do or whatever. It's just, but they just maybe cannot do it anymore. So
Mhm.
coming to terms with that, but instead of sitting there, you're focusing on, okay, what can I do? What what is possible, right? So it's looking forward, it's dreaming, it's visions, it's embracing who you are, and then, okay, what does that look like? Like, how can I make that work? To honor
Mhm.
yourself and to honor the people that you love and want to be intentional with. So yeah, that's good. It's flexibility.
It's flexibility and freedom.
Freedom, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So connections are very important to you, relationships and connections. And
Mhm.
we definitely share that love of people and relationships and connections and intentionality, right? So in what ways do you intentionally build connection and trust with your grandchildren?
Mhm. Well, I wanna go back to my grandparenting.
Oh,
Um, I had 3 grandparents growing up, my, mom's mom and dad and my dad's mom. My dad's father passed away about a year before I was born, so I didn't get to meet him, and I just remember my childhood and my grandparents, they were always so, um they were intentional with us. They were present. When we were there with them, nothing else mattered. They weren't
mm,
doing other projects. They didn't have a cell phone that they were looking at. There
yeah.
was nothing that competed with our time with them. I remember my grandma and grandpa had a lake house, and we would go up every Sunday with all of our cousins. So my grandma and grandpa were the glue to all my cousins.
Mm,
And so I remember my grandfather on the front lawn. Every time we pulled up, he'd be on the front lawn waving us in. How welcoming is that? And
wow.
they were the glue because our cousins, we always knew from, Memorial Day to Labor Day, every Sunday, we would be able to go see our cousins and go swimming at the lake, and they've just been built so many memories for us in that. And another thing was there weren't really rules at Grandma and Grandpa's cottage. You could bring sand in the house, you could eat a hot dog on the couch, they kept their stuff nice. We didn't hear no. They
Mm,
really set us up for success. They had 11 grandchildren who would come up every Sunday. So, they were just very calm.
mm,
They just wanted us there.
yeah.
And my other grandmother, she lived a block away from us. So I got to walk over to her house. And that just built my own relationship with her, spending that quality time alone with her, baking cookies, making Christmas ornaments. So I just have so many memories of my grandparents. And then my parents were good grandparents. My mom is still alive, and she has 9 granddaughters. And I guarantee you, all of them would say that my mom is their buddy because
Oh,
she just
wow.
makes them feel so special. And and I just wanted to take what I knew and apply it to our grandparenting. And so some of the things that we do is our house, you can jump on the couch. I don't have a coffee table because they were jumping off the coffee table and getting hurt. So I gave the coffee table away. We'll get a coffee table back when they're all old enough. Um, Another thing is just you know, if you're safe, there aren't really rules. You can spill, you can paint and get paint on the wall. It's okay. And just making it their extended home where they feel safe, loved, and cared for, and just trying to, repeat that. And when they come to our house, I do what my grandfather did. We have stairs. If you go through the garage, you have to come up like 16 stairs to get to our main level. So whenever I hear that garage door go up or I hear them pull up, I drop everything I'm doing and I stand at the top of the stairs and I clap when they come up and they come running. And so I just want them to always know that they're welcome. This is their home, and
You
it's a
clap
place
for
where they
them? Oh my goodness. You
because I'm so
clap
excited.
for them. Wow. You're like, woohoo, let's
Yeah. And,
go.
my husband's the same way. He's just so chill about, I guess that's what they talk about. As a parent, you're not as chill, but as a grandparent, you're like, whatever. And my husband's the same way. It's like, yeah, jump on the couch. We're good.
Is that a conversation you had to have beforehand of how you wanted to um show up like that? Or was it just like a natural, organic?
Yes. There's an author's, Stormy O'Meredith.
Oh yeah.
She wrote The Power of a Praying Grandparent, and she has this podcast. And in there, she said, you know, when your kids show up at your house, don't have rules that will make them not want to come.
Mm,
If that makes sense. Like
yeah.
don't tell them where to park in the driveway. Don't tell them, just open your doors and let them come in as is.
Mm,
And I remember hearing that, and because sometimes I like order. I like,
yeah, sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do. And I heard that, and that really stuck with me. And so we did talk about that. Like, what is it going to be like for them when they come? What would it be
Mhm.
like to them?
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting conversation. I I definitely feel like that's something that I need to like work on is because I like order too, Eileen.
Uh-huh.
uh so yeah, but I do feel like naturally I have chilled out quite a bit. Quite a bit. I am nothing like I was in my 20s and 30s now. Things just I say this, my kids think it's like one of my sayings now, but like it's just not that deep anymore. Like things I thought were so critical, so important that I had to get just right. It's just not that way, right?
What was the shift for you, AnnMarie?
Yeah. Um, Entering midlife, honestly. I,
Mhm.
you know, when you first start having kids, and this is for me, right? I don't know if everyone does this, but when I first started having kids, I had a very clear, defined vision of how I thought it should go from birth to 18 or whatever, right? What was the best for it to happen? And, people, it just doesn't work out that way. So
Yeah.
depending on the kids' personalities that the Lord gives you and life experiences and the struggles and the wins and things like that, it's just not orderly like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
through struggle, I've learned deep the need for flexibility
Mhm.
because that isn't something that comes naturally to me either. So, um, yeah, so it's just through living life experiences and understanding that it's just people are more important than things.
Mhm.
Relationships are more important than a clean house, right? Um, and going back to what you said about the dinner party, we have dinner parties, we have people in our home quite a bit. And that was something that I had to learn. I wanted to be present with the people that we wanted to spend time with. So I learned how to do a lot of stuff ahead of time. So when they were there, like you said, I wasn't exhausted and I could actually have face to face time and enjoy the relationship. And be able to sit around a table and break bread, right? In a fun way. Cause I like to cook. So, but yeah, so life experience, maturity, um, kind of like God's way of, um, his kind way of showing me, I got this. You don't have to control everything, right? Um, but that's a process. Control is another thing that I like control, Eileen.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something that I'm working on. And funny enough, not that this is all about me because this is your interview, but um, coaching has been another avenue that I wasn't expecting that the Lord has used to cultivate a deeper level of flexibility, intentionality, and release of control.
Mhm.
Um, and to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Uh,
Oh, okay. Can you give an example of that?
I mean, you know, it all kinds of goes together. You, let's say in a coaching conversation, you're talking to someone and in your mind, you're like, I have no idea where this is going to go. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to be useful in this situation. Right. And that is uncomfortable, especially I think sometimes people view you as like the expert, where that's not necessarily coaching at all, but they see you as that, right? So to be
Mhm.
comfortable in knowing that, okay, we're just going to sit here and figure it out together, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
that's not,
huge.
yeah, it's not easy. It is not easy.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe some personalities and people have an easier time with that, but I don't. So, um, coaching has been huge in maturity for me. Um, and how the Lord has pulled out, okay, this is kind of what I want to work on with you, and this is how I want to do it.
Mm.
Um, for better or for worse, right? But yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
Mm.
comfortable and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So my next question, I'm always curious because I wonder if there's always a little bit of a tension when it comes with you know parenting and grandparenting and your role in that. So, um, how do you define your role when it comes to helping and supporting the parents? Like, how have you established that healthy boundary of um, allowing your kids to parent? You're not the parent. And even in the times where you might disagree with how they're handling things, how does that play out?
Yeah, I'll go back to when they were married. So, what we did with both of the children when they got married and they came home from their honeymoon, we set up a dinner with them. And my husband and I, we had a talk and we said, "You are your own family now. Take the best of what you learned to our daughters from our family and incorporate that and leave the rest." Even
Mm.
down to how we celebrate holidays or how we do, you create your own. And we told them that we are, anytime we invite them to something, it's an invitation, never an expectation.
Wow.
And we also asked our son-in-laws if they would feel comfortable having a direct relationship with us and, not feeling that they had to go through our daughters to have a relationship. And so we've worked on, things that we have in common with our son-in-laws that like we do together. And so the trust and the bond started early on, where really we would invite them. And and one other thing, because my mom taught me this, if I was sharing something important with my mom on the phone, she'd say, "Hold on. Did you share this with Ken yet?" And I'd say, "No." And she goes, "Okay, call me back when Ken knows." And
Oh,
like I'm
wow.
pregnant, something about my job or something like that. But she would stop me. And another thing my mom would say is, if I was talking to her on the phone and Ken came in from work, she'd say, "Okay, I gotta go. There's nothing I could say that's more important than you greeting your husband properly." So she would just
Wow.
hang up. And so, we transferred that on to the kids right after they got married. And we
Mhm.
said and we stuck with it. And I believe both my son-in-laws and daughters can say, "Yes, we stand behind that." And they feel comfortable. And so that started the foundation of we support you guys as a family. And even down to holidays, we do not expect to spend holidays with them. We
Mhm.
invite them or they invite us, but they also don't have the expectation. And it just naturally happens when it happens. The only holiday we spent with our kids this year was Christmas Eve. And that
Mhm.
was mostly because my husband and I were in Chicago caring for our, spending time with our parents. But, we're all okay with that. It's not the holiday that matters as much because we do life together anyhow. And so when it came to parenting, we said the same thing. You're going to parent. And especially when they drop them off and there's like a discipline problem of some sort, they'll address it with us and we'll say, how do you want us to address it?
Yeah.
And then we'll follow what they say.
Wow. That is just a beautiful um, way of establishing a sense of freedom for them. Uh, marriage in the beginning marriage is always can be challenging, right? But in the beginning,
That's another show, AnnMarie.
but in the it's especially challenging. It's trying to figure out what our life together is, and to to give them that ability to create their own family from the start without heavy expectations of engagement with you. That's beautiful. That's truly um having the heart of like long-term relationship in mind, not just like short-term selfish gain or whatever, right? Because of course your heart is you want to see your kids as much as possible, but it's the understanding is the leaving and cleaving. They are their own family now. That's beautiful. And it's so setting the tone, um, yeah. And why wouldn't they want to establish a relationship knowing that they have the freedom for it to look however they want it to look?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to create it. We're curious. How is this gonna turn out?
Right.
And when you get to play the role of curiosity over control, like, "This is the way I did it," or whatever it is, you're sitting in a good seat with the
Yeah.
best view, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and fortunately enough, both of our daughter's husbands' parents are the exact same way. So they
Mm.
have support all around, and it's really beautiful.
Do you think do you think that would have been more challenging if you didn't live relatively close to your kids? Do you think that would have posed a greater challenge of seeing
Um,
them?
I would say probably not, just because of how they both welcome us so freely and openly into their homes.
Mm.
And I just think if they were further away and it was, we needed to spend the night with them or a few nights, I think our time together would just be maybe a little bit deeper, more, yeah, more enriched just
Yeah.
because of the time.
Yeah, you have given them a gift, a deep gift, and setting a tone of relationship that's it's pretty powerful and and rare. I would be willing to guess. Um, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and that's a legacy thing too, because that's how my grandparents on both sides were, Um, my grandma lived a block away, and my grandma and my mom, that's her mother-in-law, were best friends.
Oh wow.
I never yes, my parents loved having her there. She loved having my parents. They both had their own lives, and yes, every once in a while, the lives had become together, but was shown that respect. That
Hmm.
we were our own family and that my mom and dad were their own family, and same with my mom's parents. And then my parents did that with us. So this is a generational modeling of leaving and cleaving.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful representation that because I feel like maybe it's more common to see having issues with in-laws, right? Um,
Mm,
so it's a beautiful representation that doesn't have to be the norm. It
right.
can be like this, right? A beautiful expansion of family instead of a holding tight of what you had. It's the freedom of opening up to see the possibilities of what can be, which is beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful model of the possibility of it. It doesn't have to be contentious. It doesn't have to be. hurt feelings or misunderstandings or whatever, right? And then, I mean, there's going to be conflict in any relationship, right? But you and Ken have set the tone of when there is conflict, there is freedom to talk about it.
And
Yeah.
create what it's gonna look like moving forward.
Yeah.
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 And another thing we do with our kids, that we've always done, we apologize.
Mm.
We ask them
Hmm.
for redos. And that runs freely in our family because they'll do the same thing. They'll say, "I didn't say that right. That's not what I meant. Can I go back?" Yeah, go back. Do it again.
Yeah.
And it's a fresh start as well.
Yeah. We all need that. We all need that. We all need to be given the benefit of the doubt and think the best of the intentions of the other person, right? Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So you've said the word legacy, and I love that word. Um, so in thinking about legacy, what do you want to leave behind for your grandchildren?
I wanna leave behind the importance of being rooted in the Lord,
Mm,
rooted in the word. Because if they have the word in the Lord, they have the blueprint for life
yeah.
and eternity.
Hmm.
And these are powerful little kids who are gonna grow up to be powerful adults who will share this information with others. And so that's most important. And we do that by going to church with them. We do that by, reading the Bible with them. We pray together. We pray for them. Um, I have a little frameo where pictures come up,
Yeah.
but the only pictures that can be on there are pictures with my grandchildren in them or my or my great niece and nephews. So it's the kid one. So the adults will put them pictures on with the kids, so they're in it with the kids. They joke with me like I can't be on it unless the kid is in the picture. And I put it right by my kitchen sink. So when I'm washing dishes, I'm cooking, whatever, when their picture comes up, I just do a quick little prayer. Father
Mm,
God, please bless Evelyn today in whatever she's doing. And it's just a quick reminder that, just keep praying. And that book that I shared about that Stormy wrote, The Power of a Praying Grandparent, when somebody announces that they're going to be a grandparent, that's what I send to them. It's a coffee table book. And
mhm.
just to read it. And the prayers are so intentional about praying for the parents, praying for your relationship with the parents, praying for their relationship together, praying for how they parent, how they make decisions. And, the prayers just go so deep. And the wisdom in those prayers is just beautiful. And just listening to it and praying those prayers are so important. And so that's really the foundation is the comfort in praying together. And when I kiss my littles goodbye, I kiss them on the head and I say, may God bless you and keep you. And then they'll run up if I didn't do it, and they'll run up and they'll give me their head. They're like, you didn't give me my blessing. And then they run off. It's really sweet, but just leaving that behind. Another thing is, my husband and I are trying to leave experiences behind
Mm,
and planning experiences. Like we went camping all together this summer, which was phenomenal. We also try to invite both sides of the family into doing so. Our son-in-law's parents and their families, like we did a train ride, the Santa train ride in Georgetown, Colorado. We just did it a few weeks ago. This is the second year that we're doing it, and we invited both sides of the family to come. And so that the kids can see that we're one big family and we're all
yeah.
here to support them. And just, yeah, inviting them to different things. Halloween, we all get together at my daughter's house. She makes a pot of chili and we all go out together and trick or treat. And
Oh,
so, we do that maybe 3, 4 times a year. And it's just, I want to leave that behind, that we're all here for them. We're together. We're a team for them. And it's so sweet.
it's so powerful too. When we were talking about this originally, after the conversation, I was like, I want to be your grandchild. I want that. It was just, I had never heard anyone, I've never seen someone's desire for intentional activities to create, to capture memories as much as you and your husband. And it's just infectious. Like, that's what I want. That's what I would have loved, but that wasn't in the story. But I can create that moving forward in my legacy and my family, like your grandparents did, and things like that. So it's expanding the possibilities, right?
It is expanding, and we talked earlier about the skiing.
Yes.
So, I grew up in Chicago, not the best ski hills, moved to Colorado. I'm like, "I'm gonna try skiing," and I did it for, like, a year or 2, but I was always afraid of getting hurt,
Sure.
and so I stopped. I just stopped altogether. My husband continued, he snowboards, and then, it was this year that all 5 kids would be up skiing. So they all started when they were about 2.5, but I would always be in the warming house, you
Uh-huh.
know, when they were done, I would, watch them while the parents skied. And I thought, "No, I'm missing out here."
Hmm.
So this year I bought a pass and I went skiing last Saturday for the first time. I am gonna go for lessons, and mostly because I wanna be in that with them. They all love it. And how sad it would be if I missed out
Hmm.
and I was in the warming house. And I thought, no, I want to experience this with them. So I'm completely stepping outside of my safety zone, my comfort zone. And I will take lessons so that I am safe and so that I can keep up with them. They're already faster than me. So yeah, so and I'm kind of afraid of I'm afraid of the chairlift. So I have to get over some fears here, and
Yeah.
the payoff is bigger than that, that I will be able to experience the beauty of Colorado up on a snowy mountain, going down, laughing, and having fun with those kids. So, yeah, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it.
I mean, and that's beautiful, right? Like, all of your fears are valid. It's not like they're
Thank you,
unreasonable.
AnnMarie. Thank you.
They're valid, right? But it's putting the relationship ahead of potential fears or injury or things like that. I mean, we don't want you to be injured, Eileen. Of course, we don't want you to get injured. But yeah, it's yeah,
It's that moment that I think
hard.
of. When I think of the kids skiing, I think of the moments of the smiles and "Wait for me," and this and that, and it's really the power of the moment, and I don't
Mm,
wanna miss that moment. So,
yeah. Wow. Yeah, I want you to be a grandparent for me. Anyway, that's silly, but yeah.
mhm.
So one last question, and I usually ask some kind of form of this question with whoever I'm interviewing. But if you could give one piece of wisdom to new grandmothers entering this season, what would it be?
Yeah, I thought about that question for a while because it's an important one,
Yeah,
and I put down 5 things, and they all begin with the letter P, the 5 Ps.
I
First
love that so much.
the first one is pray.
Hmm,
You are the matriarch prayer warrior. Pray,
hmm,
pray.
hmm,
Your prayers are being heard. They're important. And the next one is be on the same page with your spouse. Put
hmm.
um, be on the same page on how you're going to grandparent and parent your children. You asked that great question about how do you support your children being
Yeah,
parents. What does that look like? Have those crucial conversations, like you said. Have those important conversations. Um, and then provide support. We're their cheerleaders.
hmm,
We had our turn. And what does it look like to be a cheerleader, a respectful cheerleader?
hmm.
And, for us, part of it is take the kids overnight, do slumber parties so that the parents have time to bond and can look forward to that time. And so another one is plan. You know, plan your if if I want to show up and have energy, I may need a nap beforehand.
Sure.
5 years ago, I didn't need a nap in the afternoon. Instead of putting more things on my plate, what needs to come off my plate so that when I show up, I'm showing up my full self.
Hmm.
Have all my other work done, have all my text messages read, have all everything done ahead of time. so that when we're together, we're ready and we're
Yeah.
just ready for them. And that in 25, 30 years from now, they can say they were the center of our attention,
Mm.
and that takes planning. It takes
Uh,
a
yes. Yes.
and a lot of self-care.
Right, and so not just planning of self-care, like anticipating what you will need in order to be able to show up that way, but play the intentionality of just putting things on the calendar, right?
Mhm.
Um, so it doesn't just happen, it's planned to happen, right? That's yeah. Was that 5 or was that 4?
That was 4, and just one more thing, if we are doing a slumber party that's, 15 hours, 20 hours, whatever it is, I really need to make sure I don't have something planned the day before, the plan after, that would zap my energy from that,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that's where things change, we're really adapting to this. And then the last one was present, be present.
Mm.
Look them in the eye.
Hmm.
Listen. Be the person who's gonna listen, and especially when they're young, you wanna be that voice that they trust, that they're
Mm.
hearing the truth from, that they know that they're secure, they know that they're loved, they know they can be themselves, because when they go out into the world and they have friends and teachers and coaches and other people, they may be hearing a different story, so I wanna make sure that they can go back to the basics and say, "Nope, that's not what grandma and grandpa said."
Ugh.
That's the truth. So just being so present to make sure that that's what we're putting out for them.
Yeah. That is such a beautiful picture of grounding and foundation, right? They are grounded in truth, they're grounded in your voice. Yeah. Yeah, and that takes time and intentionality and years.
It does. It
Yeah,
does. And yeah.
that's really special. Eileen, truly, you are a special woman and you are a special grandmother. Um, my prayer is that people watch this episode and are excited and have their own fresh ideas of how they can show up with their grandkids and their kids, right? That these kind of special relationships with extended family is possible
Mhm.
and exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Marie, I just, just you've got your kids who are adult children and, just the possibilities with them before they do find a mate, if they choose, and then before they find their children or have children, just it's so beautiful, the curiosity that you have with your children, and you're already building that foundation with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, imperfectly, right? But
That's why we
imperfectly.
have grace, right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Eileen, thank you so much for this conversation, for being willing to talk about something so special and so powerful. I really appreciate you.
well, thank you, AnnMarie. Thanks for inviting me. And I just love that it's one more opportunity that we got to be together and work together. And yeah, these last few years working with you in the coaching, um, you just made it so much better,
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
much
I
more
think
meaningful too.
good. Thank you so much. I feel exactly the same way about you. So thank you so much.